Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to our channel. A lot of people are debunking that the existence of UGM. Some said it's just an acronym to permit so many issues in Nigeria, or to permit so much social menaces. Well, an eyewitness, not just an eyewitness, a prominent politician, has decided to give his life experience, as in a life encounter he had with UGM, and he survived it. And he said these guys are real, they are not foreigners, they are true, and honestly, something needs to be done. And this is coming from a former chairman of Ohaneze Lagos branch, and that's barrister Fabian Onwughalu, and we're going to give you full detail of what transpired between him and UGM and the message they dropped for him. I think he's one of the few people that actually came out alive from such an encounter. Before we go into the news proper, like and subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button. Beside it, you see a bell notification icon. Please go ahead, click on it to get notified as soon as we update our channel on YouTube. Well, this is coming from a social media page, and this is what he has to say. As I conclude, that's coming from Barrister Fabian now. As I concluded my case at High Court 3, Nnewi, Anambra State, some days back, I drove to the new spare parts market to buy engine oil for my generator. Thereafter, I quickly proceeded to my country home to meet one of my errand boys, Mr. Anayo, who had been waiting at the gate since 4 p.m. to see me for some allowance. After the traffic light junction, I decided to increase my speed to 80 kph, kilometer per hour. But lo and behold, a black Toyota RAV4 suddenly appeared behind, trailing me. When I noticed that the car, though old, despite the model 2010, had no plate number, I became very curious and suspicious. My first line of thought was that they could either be robbers who trailed me from the Access Bank ATM, where I withdrew 20,000 naira, out of which I used 6,000 naira and 2,000 naira to buy petrol and engine oil, respectively. That's PMS. Or some exuberant youth on alcohol. Whichever was the case, I decided to speed up far away from them, since I trusted my Dumbo charge ride called the new model 2018 model. Okay. In a twinkle of an eye, I had cruised to 100 km per hour, but the vehicle kept following up with a gap of less than 5 yards. I thought of driving into the Otolo police station, but quickly remembered that they had relocated to CPS due to fear of UGM. My God. As I was contemplating what to do, the worst happened. As I slowed down to avoid the potholes at Orizu petrol station, their car overtook me in a Gestapo style in a James Bond movie and blocked both my car and an oncoming Range Rover Sport 2020 model. I then said my last prayers and asked God to have mercy on me and accept my soul in paradise. One came to me and barked, "Oga George, what are you doing to bring Nnamdi Kanu out?" I told him that I just came back from Abuja last week, where I joined his defense team for free of charge. He told me to continue and that God will bless me. While two of them were interrogating the driver of the range, the other two were chanting, "No Biafra, no election." While the one who was with me told me to go and tell the politicians to stop wasting the lives of innocent youth who throng their meetings, as they are ready to blow up any political meeting venue henceforth. After about 10 minutes, he retreated to the range and ordered the driver, who introduced himself as the son of Igwe Orizu, Igwe Nnewi, and the owner of the petrol station, out of the car and returned his 2 phones to him. Okay, they wanted to be sure that there's no videoing. As this was going on, another team arrived with a Honda Pilot. First, a man who was watching the drama afar in his car, oblivious of the danger lurking behind him. The second group shouted that they were the backup squad. Meanwhile, as their eyes concentrated on the vehicles, I quickly reversed into the Obindo petrol station, left my keys in the ignition and scaled the draft fence into the cassava farmland nearby. The latter left with the 4 cars and the owner of that last car, which they commandeered. Thank God they did not see any political party insignia on me and my car. Moreover, they thought I was a security agent trying to escape from them. But when they saw me in my lawyer's apparel, they became friendly. I am still in shock after so many hours as my BP, who shot up to 180, is yet to subside. Only the Almighty God can intervene on this imbroglio. Today, I confirm that these boys are actually not joking. On on particular, a boy of about 30 years who seemed to be the leader had the whole thing wrapped around him. May God help our brothers in the village. Nigerians reacted strongly to this personal encounter that this man had. He's an Igbo man, and he's now saying that he thought this whole thing is just propaganda. There's nothing like UGM. But now, with what he has seen, he knows that things are happening, and those living in the southeast are probably, you know, going through a lot. But right now, we're going to go through some sections of the commentary Nigerians are talking, and we'll look at this analytically. According to him, these are UGMs, and I don't know if you saw their faces, but definitely he had an encounter. The encounter that left his BP 180 and have not yet come down. It's not a playful thing; it's a very serious issue. Nigerians may now understand. See, do we? Why do we always do this to ourselves? Let's first of all go through the commentary. This one here saying, "Oh Diego, firstly, I thank God for your life, even though you were a wrong one. It and okay, this one here says, we need national conference to renegotiate the Nigerian Union. People handling it that it's only National Assembly that can sort any constitutional issue are being dishonest. The National Assembly that is a byproduct of a fraudulent constitution. How can that be? My only prayer is to live long to witness the end. I began to see the beginning of the end." This one here say, Igbo, instead of blaming ourselves somebody is still blaming Buhari. Okay, this one says somebody is blaming Buhari, that we should actually be blaming Igbo should be blaming themselves. Okay, but the truth of the matter is this thing is going out of hand. Now, at least a politician, a lawyer, a judge has seen this. So it's no more joking. Can we not actually come into some sort of round table discussion and please dialogue this thing out? Please.